Analytical observations from Fred Barnes, executive editor of the Weekly Standard, Mara Liasson, national political correspondent of National Public Radio, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer, Fox News contributors all. Miss you guys in the same room. Fred, let's start with you about the debate and the day after. It's fairly unprecedented to not have a candidate going out speaking about how he did in the debate. John McCain working the phones here in his Washington office. How about that?
Well, that's what he ought to be doing, but I think one of the things he missed at the debate was explaining why he's now doing this in Washington and what he was doing before in Washington. He has played a role, and particularly getting the House Republicans a part of the negotiations. Now, I don't think, and he needs to continue working on that. I thought McCain did fine in the debate. It did better than Obama, but just not better enough. You know, he just didn't do that well on the economic issues. On the foreign policy issues, he did fine, but I don't think many people are going to draw a conclusion from the debate last night that Barack Obama is utterly unqualified to be commander-in-chief, and that's the point that McCain tried to make, but it just didn't quite succeed.
Mara, we didn't hear from you on Fox last night. What was your take of the debate?
Yeah, I think the debate was a draw. I think both men performed as well as I've ever seen them perform in a debate. I think McCain was disadvantaged because the first 40 minutes were not on his issue, which is foreign policy. They were all about the economy. When it came to foreign policy, I thought he was very crisp. He delivered his attacks in a focused manner on Obama, repeatedly saying he doesn't understand, he's naive, his position is dangerous. But I do think that the goal for Obama last night was to look presidential, to hold his own on foreign policy, which he did, and to look like a credible commander-in-chief. And because Obama came into the debate ahead slightly in the polls, and because I think it was a draw, I think the advantage still is with Obama.
And Charles, there were a number of back-and-forth moments, but most analysts we hear from say that wasn't really a knockout punch. Here's one little back-and-forth about liberalism. Take a listen.
Senator Obama has the most liberal voting record in the United States Senate. It's hard to reach across the aisle from that far to the left.
John mentioned me being wildly liberal. Mostly that's just me opposing George Bush's wrong-headed policies since I've been in Congress.
Charles, do you agree there wasn't really one catch-all moment that people will remember?
Well, what we saw is what happened all night. There was a jab and there was a parry. And it came out generally equal. I think McCain was slightly ahead on points. But I think as Mara indicated, basically for Obama, it's a win. It shows him, look, he understands he's running a strategic campaign. For all the twists and turns and McCain's razzle-dazzle plays, the Palin pick and the maneuver about the debates when he said he wouldn't attend, for all of that, Obama understands that if 80% of the electorate things were on the wrong track, all he has to do is be a presentable commander-in-chief and president, and he wins. He coasts into the presidency. And I thought last night he did what he had to do. He was intellectually nimble. He handled himself okay. He wasn't creative or forceful in any way, but he was adequate. You could look at him and say, yeah, he could be a president, and that's all he wanted to do. Now, McCain, he got a tactical plus out of this because he had a bad week over the economy. He'd stumbled early on, and then on the idea of holding out on debates so he could be in Washington, he climbed on his white horse and then he had to climb down. And it was a bit embarrassing. However, the debate resets and reboots the election. Everybody is talking about what happened in the debate, and in a way, I think it ends the McCain slide of last week on the economy. So each of them got out of it what he wanted. I think it was a draw, and since Obama has a natural advantage, a draw helps him. It's time is passing, and if it does all the way to election day at this status of these two, he wins.
All right, Fred, last word on this this topic. A lot of people were making a big deal about the fact that John McCain didn't look at Barack Obama and the style back and forth. What's your take on all that?
Look, I don't. Look, the press, it just gets so carried away with these style points, you know, and whether somebody has a flag pin and so on. The problem for McCain, as well as he did particularly on foreign policy, but even in that soundbite that you just showed, Brett, he missed an opportunity. I mean, here Obama says, oh, I'm just voting against George Bush. That's why my voting record's so liberal. And McCain should have said, well, how about this vote and that vote and the other vote? He needed, it can be thrust and parry, but McCain needed to come back and respond again, and he didn't.
Okay.